Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, yWhales, wherever in the world you are today. So right now, as we're getting ready to record, we have a really amazing NFT project that I'm going to talk about. And again, I think it's beyond NFTs. It's a lot of art and a lot of subjects that I really love and adore, but I know so little about. And so we're really lucky to have Zainab here with us today. To give a point of reference, Bitcoin has come back from its low of about 18,000 over the summer, and it's sitting there right now, kind of climbing up to about 23,000. So certainly we're seeing a little bit of recovery in kind of the blockchain space, but a lot of work to go prior to the end of the year closing out to put us in the positives. That being said, really, again, I come back to the fact there's so many innovators, there's so many architects that are building in the space that provide real world value and real world utility. And picture this, really, I'm excited to hear and learn more about. But Zainab, let's go ahead and start with kind of the backstory. Like what was your first exposure to blockchain? What was your first exposure to kind of, art almost in general, that you wanted this to be a career for yourself?
Sure. Let's start with my first exposure to art. It was as a very young child, because my parents, my family, they were in art, more antiques and what was being sold and collected back then in Turkey, where I'm from, Istanbul. And I was really brought up in a very cultivating atmosphere when it comes to, we had a lot of artists always on the dinner table. So it was very natural for me to go ahead and do curation at Central St. Martin's and continue there on with my career as a curator. And as a personality that really is interested in what's next and what's the next big utility that we can use towards changing the dynamics within our sphere. I naturally came across, during the pandemic, I came across Clubhouse, which was how I actually got into the conversation and got into the know about blockchain. And I was very curious. I realized there was a lot of reading to do. I realized there was a lot of learning to be done. So I believe that you learn best when you're actually working within
immersion learning,
whatever you want. Yes, exactly. So this brought me to a careerscape where I wanted to start working with a company, but I was a bit wary towards the startups because as we know now, there are lots of balloon projects. So it was a very big stroke of luck that I was introduced to Picture This. And Picture This is different from a lot of startups because it's kind of linked with the world's biggest photography museum. So it has a real life presence to it that really actually gave me some kind of trust towards the company. And so I decided to embark my adventure on Web3 and blockchain together with the Picture This family. And that's what brought me here.
That's awesome. So, again, starting with, the love of the culture and kind of, what artwork brings. And we've seen so many people try to kind of help attack the problem of distributing, arts, helping artists, realize and monetize their works. So kind of run through kind of how Picture This, give me the elevator pitch for how Picture This works, and why artists really should be taking a good look at it.
Well, Picture This is a photography NFT platform, a digital photography platform. And we are here to consolidate the photography market. We are a digital platform, but we sell NFTs, we sell fine art editions, we sell fine art, and we really try to take in the whole scope to be a one-stop photography platform. Our founders are the founders of the world's largest photography museum. They're Per and Jan Broman, Fotografiska founders, and our team includes a lot of members that have dedicated their lives towards the photography genre. For example, we have the founders of Berlin Photo Week. We have curators like myself that really specialize in the genre. And what we take first, and what we put first is the story and the quality of the work behind the photography. Our notion within Web3 is to kind of start experimenting with photography, to not only see it as photography alone, but to explore the relationships that photography and art may have with the gaming and Web3 communities. So I think that's very interesting and very differentiating us as a photography platform to the rest of the platforms.
Yeah. So looking, at your website right now, picturethis.arts, you're also very interested in not just the art, but you want to know the backstory to the artist. So understanding,
Definitely.
again, same thing we just did with you. We want to understand where you came from, why we should even listen to you. A picture is worth, the same thing, 1,000 words. So the idea that you want to have people connect with just the artist connected with that art is not a dissimilar thing from Instagram and a bunch of other platforms. So clearly you guys are utilizing blockchain to ensure royalties and everything else are going forward. Talk through kind of the process of, because there's a lot of things you can buy. It looks like on your site, there's a lot of things for sale. Talk about how that kind of works with you guys.
Well, on the NFT side, we are onboarding a lot of traditional photographers for the first time, and they're releasing their first ever NFTs with our platform. So this requires a lot of cultivation to begin with, and a lot of education to the photographers towards why they should be participating in this space, and why they should be transitioning their artworks onto NFT, and how they should be kept or how they should structure their drops. So this is from A to Z, a process where we work very closely with the artist. And, differently to the other projects that we can see as NFTs, the big PFP projects that really are released in bunches, and the big let's say, very popular projects, we are quite slow with the NFTs that we launch and with our drops. So we take each drop as if we would curate a museum collection, and we actually spend a lot of time and effort kind of bringing the whole story together. And we don't just get a bunch of IPs for photographers and just transition it onto the platform. We actually we have a large selection process, and it's quite interesting, because we're also working with a lot of Web3 photographers, so NFT photographers that are not really that haven't been accredited by the general art scene, if I can say, because as you may know, the art world is very elitist, and the Web3 space has no tolerance for elitism, and it's a much more democratic space. So this is the spirit that we're trying to kind of ensure that you will find with Picture This, because we are only choosing the works that we feature on our platform with the quality of the work and the story behind. So we're trying to kind of break that boundary that you usually see within the art scene. Another thing is photography as a genre is, I think, the most adaptable art form to NFTs, because it is already digital, and it's already something that is if you print a photograph, that's when you have something tangible. But there are so many photographers that have masterpieces that haven't been made physical. So I think this is really changing the future for photography.
That's really amazing. So and you didn't know this. So I'm a rabid amateur photographer, and when I say amateur, it's only because I never sell anything. So I have multiple decades of photos that I've spent, carrying, tens of thousands of dollars of camera equipment around the world with myself, underwater and all over the place, that I print for myself. But I would never dream of, going out and doing anything, because to me, the fear is always that theft. Like it would kind of, I enjoy what I have. I put, a couple random things on Instagram. I did that a few years ago. And then when I started to see people just stealing it, I kind of stopped. Because again, these are for my enjoyment and for others' enjoyment. And as soon as kind of there was copyright issues, where I've seen my artwork come up on other people's sites or being used for ads, I stopped. So, how do you guys manage a little bit of that? Because the digital art side of things, NFTs can provide a lot of access and protection, but in the same sense, depending on how that file is loaded out there, tell me how that works for copyright protection for photographers.
Well, I think this is a very an old conversation from even before when NFTs were launched. It's just exactly the same as the phenomenon of what the original work is and the phenomenon of the copies. So just imagine the Mona Lisa being printed everywhere, but there is only one real original Mona Lisa. So this is a very large, actually kind of philosophical debate about the value of the original work and the value of the copyright of the work. So I think NFTs have brought up this subject so everyone's actually started talking about this, and that's the right, save, click mentality. And, there are lots of ways to kind of protect within the smart contract what the end user can do at the end of the day with this artwork. Can they duplicate it? Can they use it commercially? That. So for us, we always protect the artists and the artists' content that they have. So we have a special smart contract that is kind of created in protection towards the artist. And I would say that the resolutions are always very much to do with this conversation. So we would upload a certain resolution as an NFT, and then if the end user or end buyer wants to put it on a larger screen or wants to have it in a larger pixel format, we would always have a kind of understanding and let them have an agreement with us that they will not reproduce.
Okay, so that's very interesting. So when you're just correct me if I'm wrong on this. So I buy an a photograph on your sites, and you're going to give me kind of a medium resolution JPEG, just so I have it. It's there. It exists. But if I say I need, I want to put it on this, a 90-inch TV on my wall to display it, then I simply reach out to you guys who facilitated to reach out to picture this, and you guys can provide me with a higher resolution artwork. It's private to me. I can use it, but it's going to probably come with some copyright restrictions, meaning that if I sell that NFT, that I no longer have the rights to that high resolution image, correct?
Definitely, okay. Exactly. But we don't provide medium. We provide a generic size resolution. Okay. But if you want it even in a higher resolution, you could reach out to Picture This, and we could send over a higher resolution.
So you guys are very hands-on with this. So you are more a traditional art gallery utilizing NFTs than you are an NFT platform, pretending to be an art gallery.
Well, I wouldn't say we're a traditional art gallery either. I would say we are a platform, almost a world where it's not only the products we provide, but it's also a lot of a place where you could go just as a photography lover, someone who doesn't want to buy, but just wants to learn, because we have a lot of programs where we're looking to cultivate and educate our viewers. And basically, we have a great board of directors, and we have great ambassadors program with very important names in the photography world, where we launch master classes for young photographers, and
Wow.
we allow them to have a bridge of communication between them. So we really want to be a world of photography. We aim to be a world of photography that is using the blockchain technology and what the blockchain technology offers to our benefit and to our photographers' benefit.
No, that's fabulous. So again, you're really pushing forward a medium, and you guys are exclusively photographs. So no paintings, no movies.
Yes, photography.
I love
art.
it.
No, but that's the thing.
No, keep
sorry,
going.
I think we have latency, but that's the thing. It's strictly photography. But for example, during NFT NYC, we just launched our collaboration with the Sandbox, and as you said, we're looking to push the medium forward by collaborating with different genres. So, for example, I can give an example from what we're doing with the Sandbox, so it can maybe make some sense towards what we're doing. So we've launched a project, and this is a project as an open call to all voxel artists on the Sandbox. And these voxel artists will be submitting their own artworks, later to be collaborating with Picture This photographers to create artworks together. So we're really looking to push the limits and the borders towards what photographers can do to collaborate with the web3 community, the gaming community. We'll be launching our photography NFTs as NFTs that are in-game, that have in-game uses within the metaverses, starting with the Sandbox.
Talk me through that. I want to hear about
yes.
Talk me through what that looks like.
So basically, what the metaverse offers us and what the metaverse offers artists is a chance to look at the utility and of their artworks in a different way than they would if they were just doing a gallery show or if they were just doing an online exhibition. We are now launching our photography NFT collections as NFTs, voxelized NFTs on the Sandbox. And the Sandbox gamers and players will be able to buy these artworks and kind of place them within the game, so that we can use gamification to kind of showcase our artworks. Another great thing is, which I actually find very interesting as a curator, is that we will be able to use in our spaces and in our galleries on the metaverse gamification to curate. So we imagine entering a metaverse space, and you have signals towards which artwork you should see next. And if you unlock the artwork by going and viewing the artwork, you're then allowed to access the second part of the exhibition. So these kind of different ways of use casing what the metaverse and the blockchain technology has and gaming has to offer, we're creating an experience for the viewers.
That's amazing. And I think it's really interesting. Again, you're going past the Web 2 interfaces. And so you're kind of a Web 2.5 project is the way I would refer to you guys, because you've got an amazing, website with all of your artwork and lots of things to do there. But you're utilizing Web 3 technologies along the way. So you're not fully on chain. Because you do sell the traditional manner as well, it looks like. How long has Picture This been around, and what are sales like, and kind of what a few of the stats?
Well, we've launched our first drop in March during the Venice Biennale, and we had a great exhibition with the Norwegian artist Christian Huge in Venice. And that was actually kind of representing our stand as a company and as Picture This, because, as you said, we're looking to bridge the two worlds, and the art world is very Web 2 at the moment. And to kind of, we don't believe one will replace the other. Real life touch feel will never disappear, but we have to embrace that this new technology has a lot to offer. So we're creating NFT exhibitions during art fairs during big biennale events, so that we can actually introduce and have accepted the NFT artists towards the traditional collectors and vice versa. And our sales are going pretty well, actually. It's a combination of NFT collectors and traditional collectors. So we're getting actually where we want to be. I would say equal kind of interest from both.
That's awesome. That's amazing. So let's expand a little bit to the overall kind of NFT, and marketplace. There's a number of competitors that are doing this. We've talked to a number of them as well. How do you see, really over the next couple years as the space evolves and Web3 becomes more mainstream? Do you see that, artists kind of using this as the way that they sell their projects? So they're still promoting on LinkedIn. They're still over on a variety of sources. Are they linking back to you? Or are you guys going to try to go out with your own platform to be a browser and kind of a search tool for art?
Definitely, that's our end goal. We want to be our own platform and browser towards photography only. So this is our biggest promise. We will never kind of expand our niche. We will always be a photography platform. And what we see with a lot of our competitors, which we actually, really look up to and really find very successful, including Quantum, Obscura, a lot of the photography platforms have now kind of branched out into fashion, into art, and really left the niche. So that's one thing that I think would separate our future plans, is that we're always looking to collaborate. So for example, we're collaborating with a lot of different NFT platforms at the moment, including we have now a collaboration with Known Origin that is coming towards December, and we'll be launching an interesting IRL activation during Miami Art Basel. So if you guys are there,
that's amazing. Yeah, there'll definitely be a few of us at Art Basel.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah.
A couple of questions I have is, no worries, a little bit of lag here because you're halfway around the world. So when we talk about photography, and this is a subject, like I said, I'm relatively, up to date on. I also own a marketing company, so we've got dozens of cameras and photographers. When we talk about photography art, and there's a few kind of ways that people look at this. Some people say the image is the image. It doesn't matter how it was created. Taking a picture on an iPhone, if it brings emotion, then people like it. But then there's the truest, the fine artist that it has to be captured on purpose. It has to have the depth and the story behind why it was captured, and generally has to be on a much higher resolution camera than you're going to get on a traditional smartphone. I don't care how many pixels it has. Do you guys differentiate between kind of snapshots and kind of that true fine art world, or do you just go after the image and the emotion?
I would say we definitely go after the image, the emotion, the idea, and the story behind. So the technique is each to his own. Each artist has their own way of capturing a work, and this is a big debate and very subjective in one point to each. It's their own kind of way that they will realize and create the final masterpiece of an artwork. So some photographers may take 1,000 captures before they find the one, and some may just take one, and that's the way they work. So this is very much a personal and case-by-case scenario. So I don't think we have that kind of a bias as into how they
what they do
work.
So, and I see that you guys will also produce prints. Yeah. And so that's one of the most important things is, I love digital. I think it's great. It's very handy. You can, I can show off my photographs anywhere I want. But that's good. Gets back to the smartphone versus the larger medium cameras. That true fine art, needs to be blown up and needs to be, seen and kind of here's the rendering outside of the screen. So when you guys are going to these art fairs, are you just using digital art TVs, or are you actually printing these in a traditional manner?
Well, I'd like to quote Whale Shark on this. So what he said was that the reason why we were the most interesting photography platform that he saw, is that we have a spectrum. So yes, we have like fine art photography exhibitions with no digital as well. We have karma exhibitions where we use both, and we have exhibitions where we just use screens and digitals. So it's a mixture of all, and this is what we're really trying to vet for, actually, that it's not one or the other.
Yeah.
It's all.
No, I think it's fabulous that you guys are adapting, because there's a lot of people that are still stuck in, it has to be this way. There's no change. And so the fact that you guys are integrating, NFTs and blockchain technology, as well as, leaving digital art in its digital format, is very interesting, especially from an ownership and investment perspective. Let's talk about kind of the overall, what you saw at you were at NYC NFT or NFT NYC. You said, yeah,
NFT
yeah.
NYC.
What was that experience like?
Well, it was very hectic, a lot of fun, and it was interesting to. So we launched and we showcased our projects with the Sandbox during NFT NYC, and it got so much eyeballs on it that I was kind of amazed. And I was on stage, I'm not a big stage person, but it was very welcoming. And the biggest difference I see, because I've been going to art fairs for maybe like 15 years now, I'm visiting the main ones all over. And the biggest difference I see is that it's so much more welcoming of an atmosphere. The Web3 atmosphere and the NFT community are so much more welcoming, forgiving mistakes, anything. So I think it's a much more, it's a high positive energy atmosphere that it is, and the people as well. Very welcoming, very democratic, as I said, and very eventful. So they know how to party. And I absolutely loved the week that
That's
I was
fabulous
there.
to hear. And really, I will echo what you just said. The Web3 communities are easily some of the most welcoming I have ever seen in any asset class I've been in before. When you talk about Web1, Web2, or kind of really any other fintech related investments, generally they're very closed doored. What they're working on, they work in stealth. They don't want to talk about it. They're not going to be there to offer help. Everyone's kind of against each other. And Web3 is exactly kind of a lot of the experience that you've had, I've had as well, meaning that what you're doing is really cool. I'm doing something similar. Let's talk through that so we can help with the adoption and the growth. So Zainab, again, let's pretend that I'm actually a photographer worth talking about, and any of my images are worth displaying.
I'm sure you are.
What would be the Oh, no, listen, don't say that yet. But assuming that I am, what would the process look like for myself as a photographer to engage, picture this, to represent me as an agent, I guess?
So we have an artistic board. And we would first have to take your work and your portfolio upon our artistic board. And once the votes are finalized and you've been chosen as an artist, and we do a kind of blind artistic preference. So we try not to look at the history behind the work. We try not to look at which museum shows they've been in, and we try to look at the work itself and the story itself while choosing. And so once you've passed the artistic board, you would have a 2-hour meeting with our team to look through your archive and decide on which works should be and why they should be transferred and transitioned as NFTs. Then we would decide whether we create one twin asset NFTs, which are the NFTs that are directly transferred as the photograph as it is, or we should use digital effects and work collaboratively with one of our digital artists to create and layer onto your work and make it come alive, so to say. So that would be our process. We would start the job planning. We would have some curatorial context and text work done, and basically decide on a pricing structure and put you on our calendar as our next photography drop.
I am willing to go through the process knowing I will most likely be rejected. But I'm really curious about this because I know there's so many people, and for anyone who's, carries around these massive cameras like I do, everyone's like, oh my gosh, these are great images. You should sell these. This is, everyone would buy these. And my answer is like, no one will ever buy these things. It's a hobby. It's a sickness of mine. I do this for fun. And so I always have been curious about this. And I think this is a really interesting way for people to kind of say, is this worth it or not? And I love the idea of kind of collaborative voting, people wanting to see and look at these things. Here, I'll tell you what, we're going to, just because we're having fun. My screen's not set up here. I was going to say, I'll show you some of my stuff and you can tell me if it's worth accepting or not, but we'll do that offline because this computer's not set up for it.
I'd love to.
Yeah, we'll take care of that. But, really, I love the idea of again, it's not just one or two people. It's a group, and kind of using that decentralized, autonomous, kind of organization. So almost like a DAO, creating that group feel. So I love that. And then what's the, if you're accepted, what's the onboarding process look like for kind of ongoing pictures?
The onboarding process it looks like basically we have a group. So for the younger photographers and not for the OGs and not for the very established photographers that we have at Picture This, like we have names like Sebastião Salgado, so we can't really teach them anything there. But for the younger photographers, we have a group of experts, we have a group of curators, and we have a group of ambassadors that we create workshops with for these photographers. So it's a lot of learning that is done, and we actually want to provide a lot to kind of further them in their careers while we're onboarding them. So not only create a drop and then look for the sales, we actually want to make a difference with this photographer's career and see what kind of an aspect in his artistic career that he hasn't, what path that he wants to take, that maybe we could provide him through our experts and the great big artists that he could collaborate with. Another thing is we believe that we want to partner our artists with big communities. So I think that's the most important within Web3. So when we look at an artist, we think about what kind of a collaboration we can create with a Web3 community for this artist. So now we have an upcoming drop with one of China's biggest photographers, Chen Man, and she's a fashion photographer. She was worked with Vogue, with Kusama, with Rihanna. So she has a huge following. So we're looking now, and we've decided, but I cannot say that we're going to be partnering up with a big brand to kind of promote the drop and create something collaborative. So this is a space where we kind of look to bring the best in the collection and the best in the artist and emphasize whatever we think is most necessary within the drop.
Love it. That was perfect.
Yeah.
So jumping into the final section, you were at NFT NYC. You're traveling around to all these art galleries. You're playing around with new mediums of ownership. What's anything cool that you've seen that just you think anyone listening to that really liked Picture This would find interesting as well?
Well, a cool project I've seen is actually a generative art and digital art collection. It's by Pablo Rodriguez Fraile, and he's one of the biggest collectors for digital art and blue chip digital art. And I love the way that he kind of collaborated with Mokta, with Serena Tabaci to create a big exhibition in Florence in the Palazzo Strozzi, where Arturo Galantino, who is the director of the big museum where you see everything from Donatello to kind of the masterpieces in art, that he offered a large section for Pablo's digital NFT art collection. And I really thought that was very strong, and I thought that really made it was a great support that the big institution gave towards this digital art collection. And I could say it's a milestone.
You know what? And we interviewed Pablo really just a couple of weeks ago. And so absolutely agree. Doing some fabulous work in the space. And again, I love seeing, you know, a lot of the PFP projects, the profile picture garbage, randomly generated, you know, stuff is just so bad. And I think that people, you know, a lot of, you know, maybe older people, we want something that actually some thought and energy went into. And the idea around, you know, being able to own a piece of fine art on chain that is verified to act as a profile picture, to act as my image, is kind of something I appreciate a little bit more than just, you know, a couple lines of code that randomly generated a few characters. There's nothing wrong with either approach, but clearly there's a market for this. And I absolutely love that thought of it. And really, again, Zainab, I appreciate you coming by. For anyone that is interested in Picture This and wants to kind of go through the process you just talked about, either as a photographer or to start acquiring some art, what's the best ways to get a hold of you?
I would say you can reach out to our team, to me, or to our website, or join our Discord server, Picture This, and just reach out. We'll be there. We're very responsive, and we'd love to hear from you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Zainab. All you yWhalers out there that have been taking pictures all over the world for these years. You know, there looks like there's a good use case here with Zainab and Picture This. So thank you so much, Zainab. Don't go anywhere. For the rest of you guys, take care. We'll talk to you soon.